Thanks for staying tuned. It's still TVC Sports Desk. It's now time to talk about the very best of Nigerian rugby. And just a little over 2 years ago, following the readmittance of Nigeria into the international scene by World Rugby, the Nigerian Rugby Football Federation appointed legendary Scotsman Steve Lewis as the head coach of the senior national teams. Now, the appointment was to shape the future of our national teams as an emerging force on the continent. The journey thus far has been a major improvement on all fronts. The men's national team, known as the Stallions, wrapped up their 2025 Rugby African Men's Sevens campaign in Mauritius with a thrilling 19-12 win over Ghana in what you can describe as the Jollof Derby, thereby securing 7th place overall. It is an improvement from the 11th place finish in the previous edition, and this is definitely a great testament to the improvements the team has had over the past 2 years. Now, a World Rugby Level 3 coach, Lewis is a two-time USA Rugby Coach of the Year and is one of the United States' most experienced and successful sevens coaches. As the founder of Elevate Rugby and with a master's degree in sports business, Lewis is also one of the sport's most recognizable and successful executives, instrumental in the introduction of professional rugby in North America. He is also a regular TV analyst and commentator. For Nigerians, we know him as the head coach of all national teams. He joins the show this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Let's run it back a bit. May, precisely, if I'm not mistaken, May 2023 was when you came on board as the head coach of the national teams. I made mention of the African Men's Rugby Sevens and the progress we made 11th the previous year, and this year we finished 7th. It's a bit of progress right there. Run us through the last 2 years in terms of the progress that has been made both in terms of men and women's rugby.
Right, so in terms of the men, you know, when you're readmitted, you start at the bottom, right? So we had to qualify in that time, and so we made 11th, and this year to get to 7th with, you know, with only 2 years and with fairly minimal preparation and support and resources has been a real achievement. You know, we're just very close to beating Zambia for 6th. So we're trending in the right direction, and given more support, I am firmly of the belief that Nigeria, its athletic DNA, is spectacular. It should be a sporting superpower, both in rugby and football, and recent success with the women in football and basketball, right, is great. We should be replicating that with the men and the women in rugby, and we can with support and resources.
Before we delve into the Rugby Sevens we saw last month in Mauritius, you just said we should be dominating African rugby, especially because you look at it, we have the physique, and we know quite well. Let me take, for instance, World Powers, two-time defending champions, world champions, the Boks, the Springboks now. We know how confident they are in their scrum. We can all recall, Damian Williams calling for a scrum on his 22 against France, right there. You would have other players probably go for a kick, but he did call for a scrum right there, and that was quite surprising to so many. It's almost like a footballer deliberately conceding a penalty because he's assured of his goalkeeper's, penalty heroics, as it were. When you talk about the talents we have as Nigerians that we should dominate, we are looking at the physique, the stamina, the strength. Is this all it takes, or there's really more to it aside the physicality that gives you an edge when it comes to scrums? Yeah,
so I mean, there's what I call rugby IQ, right? The understanding of the game. And so obviously culturally, South Africa and to a certain extent Zimbabwe and Namibia have had deeper and longer rugby cultures, so that is difficult to replicate, and you can't do it instantly. So there are a couple of things that are needed for success on the international stage. And one is robust domestic competition, i.e. more and more kids playing rugby here and playing regularly. And then the opportunity, competitive playing opportunities, where you can actually match your skills and your physique against other countries. So we can't replicate what's already an industry in South Africa. It's their religion in many ways. Okay. So we're coming from a long way back. But we do have the athletic ability. We should have the economic wherewithal, and to me, it's certainly achievable within, say, a 5-year period that we are competing with the top dogs in South Africa and in Africa, which is South Africa.
Okay, let's quickly run through the coaching course. I know that's a 2-day course. You'll be delivering a masterclass tomorrow as well there for grassroots coaches to ensure that we churn out the very best of coaches. Talk to us, what can we expect from this world level 1 course?
Right, so another key piece of the puzzle, right? You can have talent, you can have support, but if you don't have good coaching, you can't put it all together and you can't deliver the results. So this is groundbreaking this year in that Nigeria is for the first time delivering this capacity building course with its own educators. So that's really important as a credit to the union, the federation. From my perspective, why I came back this week, yes, I can coach a team here in a tournament, a team there in a tournament, but my best utility is coaching coaches, coach education, and that's neglected, and it's actually neglected in even established countries. So to me, coach education is key, and if I can come here and I can make 30 coaches better, that will help the game more than me coming in for one tournament or this or that. So coach education to me is vital, and that's what this week is about.
Okay, great. We'll talk about women inclusion in the sport as well. We know the federation's target is about 3,000 girls playing. Currently, it's so close, 2,700 girls playing. How does this contribute to rugby development in Nigeria?
Well, it's 2025, okay, so gender equity in all things.
Definitely.
And as it should be, as it should be. And in many ways, actually, the path to success on the international level, as evidenced by your football and basketball teams, is not easier necessarily, but there are less obstacles on the women's side. So Nigeria women's rugby, I mean, that's a prize there for the taking. You can get further faster on the women's side of the game. With regard to the women, they have played in the Africa Games in Accra in Ghana last year. That was their first competitive outing and struggled, understandably. But again, the athletic DNA is there. So it's to the credit of Aziz Ladipo, Dr. Adamola Are, these guys who are building that sort of playing base. So it's about increasing the population, the playing base. And I'm sure that the talent, the cream will rise to the surface.
Okay. Finally, in about 30 seconds, what other reforms are needed to ensure that we elevate the sport of rugby in Nigeria?
Well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Do you need resources to get success, or do you need success to attract resources? Funding, be it the Sports Commission, be it federal, be it governmental, be it public, and private sponsorship. Both of those are what drive rugby in other countries, in established cultures, and rugby economies. So we need, the federation needs support from both. The new Sports Commission has turned a corner, turned a new leaf, from what I understand, so that's looking good. And we've got to attract private sponsors as well. And typically you only get that though when you get a couple of good results and you get their attention, front page or back page of the paper. All of a sudden people are interested when you win games.
Okay, interesting take right there. Steve Lewis, the head coach of Nigeria Rugby National Teams. Thank you so much for your time on the show.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.